Okay, so when you are surrounded by, or are certainly um, have a number of people in your life that don't believe, you you love them, and you want them to be saved. You can think of nothing better than if they were saved and you were on the same page and you could all, you know, worship God together. And how much better that would be. And instead, so they're thinking about themselves. We think about ourselves as well, but the point is, they're not thinking about your salvation. You're thinking about their salvation. You're thinking that you're in a sense, you laying down your life for them, depending on the degree of the commitment you're making to praying for them. Or you can't be witnessing to them all the time. It is just impossible. You can only witness so much to the same person unless they're willing to hear it. Most people can only hear so much. It's the same thing. They switch off. The enemy gets in there. But the point is that if they could see, but they don't see, they'd see that you're now really concerned with their welfare. They just don't know it. And a lot of time they will actually attack you, ostracize you. You'll lose them sometimes. It just depends, but the point is, it's such a strange predicament. The fact that you are really, in any other situation, it's because it's the truth. It's because that's what makes it, you know, not straightforward. It's a life and death, God and Satan battle sort of thing, when it comes to this. But in any other situation, like in a film or something like that, it it would be a heroic thing to be sort of going. I used to be all about myself, but now I'm I'm just thinking, I want you, want your welfare. It's just they don't believe that what you want for their welfare is for their welfare. Now, the point is that in 2 Corinthians 4, it says, in their case, I'll come back to what he's talking. In their case, the God of this world has blinded the minds of the unbelievers to keep them from seeing the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of God. They can't see the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of God. He has blinded their minds. So they can't help it because their minds have been blinded. If their minds are blinded, then it's not just a natural issue you have, but a supernatural or unnatural issue you have. You have an issue. It's like if someone's deaf and they're in the other room, you can't talk to them all day. They're not going to hear you. So what I'm going to say is that it can be a thankless task being a believer and your heart breaking for these people around you. And they can sometimes be so cruel in a way when you're thinking, I'm not doing anything malicious against you here. I'm actually thinking of your welfare. I want you to be saved. I want you to know Jesus. Not because I want you to be one of the many religions that there are in the world, one of the many, because He's your only hope. He is your only hope. He is God's rescue mission for all of humanity, if you want to put it that way. And I'm trying to get you on the boat. But the thing is, sometimes these people around you can be quite heartless with you and and they can make you kind of annoyed at them. Sometimes it's like it just breaks you. Sometimes you just sort of think, they just don't deserve it, or what. You might think these things, but the point is, their minds are blinded. They can't help it. So when it seems that people around you are just being really kind of disparaging and mocking and all these things that can happen, talking behind your back, all these things. For a start, they're not believers. Everyone's the same. They're not a believer. If they want, they're all in the same boat. We know that, but they can't help it. That's the key. So I have people really close to me, and sometimes they're doing things, and they're treating me so kind of they're treating me in a way that's like it would make a normal person kind of go, what's the point in doing this? What's the point in just drop it? But you have to go beyond even that there's a relationship or there's a friendship there. You have to go beyond that and say, I'm sacrificing that now. I'm just praying and seeking the lost, even though they're kind of turning on me. And I'm doing it because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. In their case, the God of this world has blinded the minds of the unbelievers to keep them from seeing the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of God. See, it says in the verse before that, and even if our gospel is veiled, it's veiled to those who are perishing. That could sound quite disheartening, but at some point, it was veiled to all of us. It's all been veiled to us at some point. We were all perishing at some point. So the way he's phrasing this doesn't necessarily mean, say, everyone who's not seeing it is perishing, because we've all not seen it at some point. But their minds are blinded by the evil one. And we wrestle not with flesh and blood. We have to attack on the spiritual front. Obviously, sometimes you get a chance to witness and things can happen, but even that is spiritual. God makes a clearing. God opens a space, and that when that happens, that's it. You're on. But until then, you got to learn how to fight in the spirit. You got to learn how to fight in the spirit. You got to start breaking in your prayer time. You got to break the strongholds in their life. Find out what it is that's anger, pride, self-righteousness, stubbornness. You break those strongholds. You pray. You just literally go, Lord, I break anger in such and such. I break pride in such and such. According to I can't remember which one, it's 2 Corinthians, where it says, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God for demolishing strongholds, pulling down arguments, imaginations, and every high and lofty thought that exalts itself above the knowledge of God. That's the stronghold. You're breaking these things, and you're binding spirits, and you're praying to God, and you're interceding for these people, and they don't know that's really what you're doing, and they don't appreciate it and all that. Well, that's what it is. But the point is, they can snap at you and bite at you, and actually do the opposite of what you really, in your heart, you think is the response to somebody that's going out for them, but they don't know any different. They don't understand. They can't see it. They're blind. And we were all once blind. So you just got to love them.